Hello, welcome to episode 393. We're going to be making a campfire with an interactive stew pot. Okay, here is my campfire with an interactive stew pot. Now we've got two different versions, depending which controller you've got running. So we have the infinite version, as you may well imagine, that you can just take stew from it forever. It's infinite stew. And we have the finite version, and as we take stew from it, oh, I can't. It'll only work with one bowl. There we go. Can't go dipping in 64 bowls at the same time, just one at a time. You'll see my stew level goes down. Last one. Oh, I've got no more stew left. Okay, so I thought I'd make a nice little scene for a campfire, like a little home base for a map player can come back and get food. Let's refill it. Refilled. And as I said, the other one, they can just get as much food as they like, so you get a much simpler controller as well. Okay, so it's going to be a long video. I've got a little bit of waffling. We're in 1.21, and I will say that probably at least half of the video is just making the spawn eggs and the controller for the spawn eggs, and the rest is, in the other half of the video, I'm guessing at the time, is that. The only important thing is that interaction entity. Everything else is pretty much just decoration, basically. So if you're not interested in watching me set up all this stuff, you could just skip ahead to the controllers. Okay. Right. Waffling done. Let's hide the hitboxes. And let's get on and build it now. Okay. Right. So we're going to have two different types of controllers. And one is going to be if we want the stew to run out, and one is going to be for if we want infinite stew. Now, if we want the stew to run out, we are going to need a scoreboard objective, so we're going to make that. Scoreboard, objectives, add, and I'll call it stew level. That'll be a dummy. Okay, done. Click. Right, the next bit is we're going to be making the pot itself. We're going to make a couple of spawn eggs, one so we can place the pot, one so we can remove the pot. And we're going to make the pot itself, which is, it's going to take a while. So basically, it's just going to use an interaction entity, and we're going to make the interaction entity look a bit nicer. So if you're not interested in any of that, you can skip ahead to where we're doing the controllers. Okay, so let's give egg place, and to make it a bit quicker, I've already sorted out what all the transformation information should be, so we don't have to work that out. Let's do give the nearest player the slime spawn egg, and I'm not going to give it a custom name. I'm just going to do the important stuff. So entity data equals ID equals, and we'll just say marker. Now, probably good practice is to usually use namespaces. Okay, but to speed things up, I won't. So I'm just going to say marker. So let's come out of there, and let's do some tags. Tags. And we're going to have stew pot place. I think that will do for that one. Okay, that's the placement egg. So for the remove egg, I'm just going to control middle mouse and copy that command. Give egg remove. Bump. And we'll change this from place to remove. And I'm going to give it an extra tag, which is just going to be stew pot. Yeah, that'll do. But let's change the egg color as well, so it's clear, since I'm not giving them names. We'll send that to a strider. Okay, so we can get both eggs. Right, now let's make a controller for placing it. Now I think to make this quicker for myself, I'm going to make a template for a passenger. So we'll have a temporary passenger template. Okay, and so when we've got passengers, ignore that capital A, it doesn't matter, this is a demonstration. there's one passenger. I'm going to do a template for what goes inside those brackets. So that would be 2 passengers, and we'll paste inside there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give it some tags. 1, 2 tags. Everything is going to have the tag stewpot, so I can target them all at the same time. And then everything is going to have another tag, stew something. Okay, it's like an identifier. A lot of them won't actually need that extra tag. I just in a habit of doing it. ID. What do we want it to be? Well, they're all going to be block displays. Okay. And then we'll need a block state. Block underline state. Block state takes a name. And the majority of them are going to be grey wool. So I'm going to set this to grey wool for my template. Then we'll come out of block state. And we'll have transformation, open and close curlies, and we'll have left rotation, open and closed, all defaults. 1F, then I'm going to copy all of that up to the word left, copy, comma right, rotation, and I'm going to have scale, which we'll set to defaults. And we're going to have translation, which again I'll set to defaults. Okay, so that is our passenger template. Done. We'll leave that for now. Let's make the controller for placing it. Okay, now I'm not going to do much testing. As I said, I've already worked out all the translations and scales we need. And if I do loads of tests, if I show you all the testing, it's just going to take even longer. So this is going to be controller for placing the egg. Or place it. Well, we're going to use the egg to place the stew pot. So I'm going to execute at any entity whose type equals marker, whose tag equals stew pot place. We will run summon an interaction at those coordinates, but I'm going to lift it up a little bit so it's off the floor. That gives me space for the campfire underneath. And open and close. We're going to want some tags. I think I want 3 tags. Everything is going to have the tag stewpot, so I can target them all at the same time. This one is going to be stewpot input. I have a habit now of putting underline input for my interactions. And is the fire lit or not? Let's say the fire is lit, because I'm going to make my own campfire. I'll show you why later. Okay, it needs a width, which is going to be 0.6. It needs a height, which again is going to be 0.6. If I click on it, I want my hand to move, so response is going to be true. And it's going to need some passengers. Okay, I need 6 passengers, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 passengers. Okay, now obviously you don't have to have all these passengers. This is just going to make it look a bit nicer. You can make it look however you like. Okay, let's say done. And let's put down a temporary block here, which is going to kill the marker, the placement marker. Type equals marker, tag equals stewpot place. Done. Let's turn that on. Let's give ourselves an egg. Let's pop it down. You are on, you're on. Okay, bang. Okay, well, we can't see anything, but there's just an interaction entity. So if we press F3B, we still can't see anything. So clearly, something is wrong already. Let's have a quick little look. Oh, or did we? Nope, something's definitely wrong. Always nice when you start a long episode with silly mistakes. I think the first thing I'll do is check. No, I was going to check the tag first, because spelling mistakes in tags is common. But we've got execute at S, and that's probably my mistake. So execute at E. Okay. There you go. That's going to be our interaction entity. So you could literally just use that. The rest is just going to be decoration. So let's make a temporary command to remove stuff. Temporary remove. And I am just going to kill everything that has the tag stewpot. Done. Cool. Right, let's grab our passenger template. Home, copy, and let's do the first passenger. And we'll just paste it straight in there. Bonk. Now the first passenger is going to be a cauldron. So let's change it from... Okay, passengers, here we go. Stewpot, I'll say it's a cauldron. I'm never going to target this individually. You could get rid of this tag if you want. Input block to state. Its block state is going to be a cauldron. I'm not going to do any left or right rotation on any of these. These are always going to be the same. But we do want to change the scale, which I'm going to set down to a bit bigger than half, so 0.6, 0.6, 0.6, and I want it to line up with that interaction entity. And as I said, I've already checked the values, so I can just sort of put these straight in without us having to faff around too much. Minus 0.3. Okay, I'm going to check each passenger if we do it though. There we go, there's our cauldron. Cool. Okay, 3D, let's get rid of that. Oh, I don't think we've pasted anything yet, so we've still got the passenger template. Let's just paste it in again. And let's change this passenger. So we've got stew. This one is actually going to be the stew, so I'm just going to call it stew. This block state for this one is going to be a composter. Yeah, I said stew, but you're actually eating compost, sorry. Left rotation, right rotation are the same. We just want the scale and the translation. So the scale has to be a little bit smaller than the cauldron so it can fit inside. So 0.59. And the cauldron has little feet. We don't want this thing poking out the bottom. So I'll do 0.47 and 0.59 on the Z. And its translation to get it to line up nicely, I believe, is minus 0.295 on the X. So it will be the same on the Z. 295. And on the Y, 0.07. Done. Bonk. Okay, there's our stew pot. Cool. Okay, so that's going to show our compost level. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could make a load of block displays to cover the sides. I'm not going to do that. So there's our stew pot. Right, cool. Let's get rid of that. Let's do the next passenger. I want a little bar holding it up. Unfortunately, the bar can't go through the middle because as we empty the stew pot, we don't want to see the bar going through the middle. So now we have stew, and we'll say this one is stew bar 01. Again, never targeting this by itself, so you could get rid of that tag if you wanted. Oh, this one is going to be grey wool, so they're all going to be grey wool from now on. And we just want the scale and the translation. So the scale for this, I want it 0.7, it's going to be 0.1 high, it's going to be 0.1 on the Z. That doesn't say 0.1, that does. Translation is minus 1 on the X, 0.25 on the Y, and minus 0.05 on the Z. Slap that down. Okay, let me get myself a fence just to show you how it's going to look. There we go. So we've got one bar on that side. I want a little nubbin here as well, just so it just looks like it goes straight in. Let's get rid of it. Paste in the next passenger. Bonk. Go back till we find stew. Okay, so we had stew bar. This is going to be stew. I'm going to call it nub 01. Still the block display, still grey wool, left rotation, right rotation is still the same, just scale and translation. Scale is going to be 0.1, Ooh, how wide do I want it? Or how high? 0.2. 0.2. Translation 0.35. On the Y, I think we go 0.2. And on the Z, minus 0.1. So we're not doing anything crazy. We're not doing any rotations. This is just moving it left, sort of X and Z and up and down. Let's put this one in. And that gives us that, that gives us that little nub there. Just makes it a little bit nicer. Cool. Next passenger. Paste in the next passenger. Bang. That's the stew bar 02. Still grey wool. Left rotation, right rotation. Okay, scale. What did we have for the bar? 0.7, 0.7, 0.1. 0.1, but we want it on the other side. So translation 0.25. How far did we 0.25 again, I think, for the Y. And minus 0.05. Done. Paste it down. There we go. We've got another bar. Get rid of that. Last passenger. Last nub. So let's call this nub 02. Everything's going to be the same. Grey wool, left rotation, right rotation. We just need to change the scale and the translation again. So scale 0.1, and I believe these were 0.2, 0.2. And then it's translation 0.25. How far did we move it up last time? 0.2, I think. And this one is minus 0.1. Done. Okay, so that is going to be my stew pot. So stew pot done. That's the annoying bit, really. You might want to make it look different. That's entirely up to you. The only important thing, as I said, is this interaction entity. The rest is just decoration. The rest is useless. It really is. Okay, why do I want to make my own campfire? Well, I want to make my own campfire. I don't mean actually, I'm going to use one of these, but I don't want that smoke. Look at that. It's just a bit too much. Okay. Let's get rid of that, and get rid of that, and get rid of that. I'm going to take this reset, the one that's killing the marker, and I'm just going to move it out of the way for now. And let's get a fresh empty command block. And I'm going to execute at any entity type equals marker tag equals stewpot strew. Oh, flashbacks to a series I did with Coppet a long time ago. Mushroom strew. Stewpot input. Yes, that's fine. I'm going to say run. I'm going to say set block, and I'm going to copy all of that I've just typed. And then I'm going to go stick on the end, and I'm going to put a campfire underneath. Campfire, but I'm going to say lit equals false. Done. Put another one down. Paste in. This time I'm going to do set block 1, 2, 3. Well, I've got 2 set blocks. That's pretty silly. And I'm just going to go 1 positive X. And I'm going to say oak fence. And I'm going to copy all of this. In fact, I just copy the block itself. Control middle mouse. Put it down. And change that to -1. Done. Let's copy this bit here. The bit that removes the placement marker. Check we copied it. Yes, we did. Bang. Get rid of that. Chuck down an egg. Okay, so something clearly has happened. We didn't make any fences or anything, so we've made a mistake in that command. And because we copy that command, we've made a mistake in every command. That's how stupid. Well, we've put stupid input when it's not stupid input, is it? It's stupid place. I bet you knew that. You just didn't want to tell me. You wanted to see me suffer. Stupid place. And there's a heck one there as well. Okay, stewpot place. Pop it down. Bang, we've got a campfire. F3B, get rid of the hitboxes. Cool, I like it. Okay, let's do the remove egg. What are you doing on there? Controller, remove. Okay, let's execute at any entity whose type equals marker, whose tag equals stewpot, remove. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to run fill 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 air, and let's do from -1 to 1. So that's going to get rid of the fences and the campfire. And now we will do execute at any entity, type equals marker, tag equals stewpot, remove. We will run kill any entity whose tag equals stewpot, whose distance, let's do a safe distance, equals less than 2, and whose limit equals, right, how many have we got? We've got the cauldron, we've got the composter, so that's 2. We've got the interaction, that's 3. We've got 2 bars and 2 nubs, so that's 7. And we've got the egg itself, so that's 8. Limit equals 8. Done. Now, if I get rid of those and give myself, I should be able to get one of each, so I can put it. Hey, is that hiding in my inventory? There it is. So we should be able to just we should be able to turn on and right click. Now I've already put one there, so it'll probably vanish. There we go. Okay. We can place it, we can remove it. Place it, remove it. Cool. Okay, so we're pretty much done with the setup. I think we'll leave it there for now. Okay, you're looking alright. But there's no stew in my bowl. Okay. We're going to have to put some stew in the bowl. Right. Well, actually, yeah, let's do that now. We'll do that now. That makes sense. Let's go and controller. Here, let's find the composter passenger. So stew bar, stew nub 1. Next one is stew bar 1. There's composter. So in its block state, name composter, properties, open and close, and I believe it's just level. Let's make it full. 8. Done. Let's get rid of that one. Hey, now our stew is full. We're full of lovely compost stew. Okay, but something else I need to do is I need to save a score saying how much there is in it. So let's get rid of it again. Let's take this reset block off the end, control middle mouse, move it along 1. We did copy it, yeah. And we'll change this to execute at any entity, type equals marker, tag equals stewpot place. Run scoreboard players set any entity, type equals interaction, tag equals stewpot input, limit equals 1, distance equals, I don't know, less than 1, I should do, and we'll set your stew level to 8. Done. Okay. So it should have a stew level as well. Let's check that before we start doing anything with it, otherwise if it's not working, we're going to be confused. Set display to the sidebar, stew level. Okay, 8. Cool. The interaction entity has a score of 8. Excellent. Right, let's make the controller for infinite stew. No, let's make a controller for fire. Okay, I want it to have, we've got the lit tag, so if it has the lit tag, we'll have some fire. And if there's stew inside, we'll have a little bit of smoke. So let's do that. Can I have a sign, please? So let's call this controller fire. That'll do. And we will execute at any entity whose type equals interaction, whose tag equals stewpot input. We will run particle flame for a fire, just makes sense at those coordinates, but I want it to be a bit lower, so probably minus 0.3. Very small on the X, the Y, and the Z. And no speed, a flame count of 5. Done, let's turn that on. Okay, the fire's lit. Cool, now we don't have that horrible big fat smoke going through it. And I'm going to control copy that. Or sorry, control middle mouse that. Set it to chain, always active. This time though, I'm going to do some smoke, and I'll do it 1 up. And let's make it even smaller, 0.5, 0.05, sorry, 0.05. And we'll just have count 1. Done. Now that's okay. But if it's got no stew in there, I don't want that smoke. So let's add something extra. Interaction stewpot input. Scores equals stew level equals 1 or higher. Okay, so that won't make a difference now. But if it's got no stew in it, we shouldn't have the little smoke coming off the top. Okay, F3D. Let's get that off the sidebar because we're not using it at the moment. Let's make a controller so we can get infinite stew. Okay, now I think I'll start by clearing my inventory actually, and I'll get myself a bowl, or owl as I type there. So we'll call this one controller infinite. This is going to give us infinite stew. We will, I suppose, we want to interact and then tag ourselves, give ourselves, yeah, okay, so we'll execute as any entity whose type equals interaction, whose tag equals stewpot input. We don't care about the stew level for this because it's infinite, so we will store success on an entity yourself into your interaction.player array. So this is going to clear the interaction, store it as an integer, times it by 0, so it's always going to be 0 on target. So let's switch to the person that interacted with it. If items entity, the player that interacted with it, weapon main hand is a bowl, but I only want 1 bowl. Count equals 1, so they have to be holding 1 empty bowl. Then we will run tag that player, add give stew. Okay, that's all right. Let's have another one. Let's make this one conditional, and then we'll execute as any player. That doesn't say player, that says player. Do we just want... Yeah, we don't need to do anything to the interaction. The interaction has done its job. It's added a tag to me. So we'll just do it on the player. Yeah, so tag equals give stew. We don't need to check my items because we've already done that. I have to be holding 1 bowl to get the tag in the first place. So this should be alright. And what we just want to run item replace entity at S weapon main hand with stew. Mushroom stew. Mushroom stew. That seems alright. Done. I think I'll play a sound as well. Execute at all players whose tag equals give stew. Run play sound entity dot mushroom dot milk. We'll say block because we'll pretend the stewpot is a block for all players at the coordinates of that player. 1, 1, 0. Done. And we better remove the tag as well. So tag all players whose tag equals give stew, remove give stew. Done. Turn that on. Okay. So if I click with a full stack, nothing's going to happen because remember it's looking for 1. So let's just use 1. And it remembered that I clicked. Okay. Do we want that to happen? So if I go now, oh, it remembered that I clicked. Okay, so I don't really like that. Oh, here we go. Here they are. So how can we change that? So it's int 0, so it should be removing its interaction. Yeah. Tag no entry was found. That's okay. It should be removing my give stew. Okay, well that's weird. How is it remembering when I'm removing it here? I'm going to right click on that. Right click. And I'm going to do data get entity, any entity, tag equals stewpot input, limit equals 1. See, it hasn't forgotten my information. We can see here, interaction player. It's still remembered that I've clicked on it. Okay, whereas this command should be removing that. I'll tell you what we'll do. We will take this item check. Let's move the item check out of here. Control X. We'll move the item check out of there. Stop it. And we'll put the item check in here. Give stew if items. There we go. We'll put the item check in there instead. Now let's clear up our inventory. So if I click now, nothing happens. There we go. It's happier now. There we are. Okay, so if we click with 1, we get a stew. If we click with more than 1, nothing happens. And if we then switch to 1, nothing happens. Okay, cool. It just didn't like that check being in there. There we go. We can now get infinite stew from that thing. Okay, that was the easier controller. And we already seem to make a mistake on it. Right, next, let's do the finite controller. This one can run out of stew. Controller finite. Ooh, okay. Boink. We will execute as any entity whose type equals interaction, whose tag equals stewpot input. I want to tag me and I want to tag the interaction. So first on target, if items entity at S weapon main hand is a bowl. The bowl has a count equal to 1. It's only one bowl. Then we will run tag at S add give stew. So I've clicked on it. I've been given the tag add stew. Okay, next. We'll make this one conditional. Execute as any entity type equals interaction tag equals stewpot input. This is finite. We should make some changes here. I'll tell you what we're going to do. If there's no stew in the pot, there's no point even doing anything. So here at the beginning, type equals interaction, tag equals stew point input. Let's check the score in here as well. Let's check the stew level. 1 or higher. Because if there is no stew, there's no point us doing any of this. Done. I'll put that in there as well. Okay, you're not happy because we haven't closed you. There we go. We'll do @s on target. So if it has a target, then we'll do run tag any entity whose type equals interaction, limit equals 1, distance equals less than 0.1. Add check me. Okay, so now I have the tag give stew, the interaction entity has the tag check me. Let's remove some stew from its score. So scoreboard, players, remove, my brain went funny, type equals interaction. Now if it's got this far, we've already done the stew check, so we don't need, we'll just do the tag equals check me, stew level 1. We'll remove 1 from their stew level, and then I suppose we'll play the sound. Execute at. Who should we play? Oh, let's give them the stew. We better give them the stew as all players. Tag equals give stew. Run item replace entity @s weapon main hand with mushroom stew. And we better play a sound. Should we just? I think we'll stick to playing it at the entity, so it at the player, so it sounds the same as the finite version. Execute at all players. Tag equals give stew. Run play sound. Entity dot mushroom dot milk. On the block channel, we decided for all players at that player 110. Full volume, normal pitch, minimum volume is 0. Make that conditional as well. Okay, so I think we can test this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add the reset at the end. So let's do execute as any interaction whose tag equals stewpot input. Run data remove entity @s and remove your interaction, so you forget me. Done. And then we better remove some tags. So tag any entity whose type equals interaction, whose tag equals check me, remove check me, and I better remove my tag as well. Tag all players whose tag equals give stew, remove give stew. Okay, done. S3D, let's turn that on. And let's get our scoreboard back. Sidebar, stew level. Okay, it's got a stew level of 7. 8. Why did I say 7? I don't know at all. Let's get 8 bowls then. 1. Yep, it's gone down to 7. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. None. And our smoke cuts off. Cool. Okay, well, it still looks like it's full though. So let's do something about that. Now, we don't have macros because we are not using a data pack, so we're just going to have to do a little bit of hard coding. It's only 8 blocks, so it's not too bad. Let's get rid of all these. And let's also... let's just get a new one. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Bang. Put a new one back that's full. Okay. Right, let's hard code some values so we can change that level. So we've got 1, 2, 3 on the resets. I'm going to shift, control, middle mouse, 2, 3, and I'm going to just move them over here, just so I don't have to type all that again. Let's just check we did get the commands. Yes, we did. Okay. Now let's get rid of them. Okay. Right, let's execute at any entity whose type equals interaction, whose tag equals check me, whose scores equals bump, stew level equals 7. Yeah, run data merge entity, any entity whose type equals block display, tag equals stew, so that's the composter. Have to have a limit equals 1, distance equals, well, they're in the same place, so let's just say less than 0.1. What are we going to put in there? I'm going to change your block state. And in your block state, I'm going to change your properties. And in your properties, I'm going to change your level. And I'm going to change your level to 7. Okay. Done. And then I'm going to copy that. Control copy. And I'm just going to do it. So that's 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh dear, which was the first one? So that's 7. You are now going to be... Oh, they're all going to be 7. Which is the first one? This one. There we go. Make sure we start at the beginning. 7. And we'll just change the score to 6. 6, 6. 5. Hey, and again. 5. 4. 4. A 3. 3. A 2. I feel like I've made a mistake. I think I've got too many. 2. 1. 1. Got 1 too many. 0. 0. Okay, get rid of that one. F3D, let's just have a little look. So we've got, I changed the first one. We didn't have 1 too many. I was right. Okay, so what can we do here? I think the easiest way is just to copy them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll change this one here. Let's get rid of that one. Change this one back to 7, which it should be. I'm very silly. We'll put a 7 in there. Done. And now we'll just get rid of all of these. And we'll just put them back in. So that's 6. Yeah. That's a 5. Yeah. That's 4. That's 3. That's 2. That's 1. That's 0. That's cool. Then we'll get our reset blocks. Control middle mouse, middle mouse, middle mouse. 1, 2, 3. Get rid of those. Get rid of those. Get 8 empty bowls. Oh my. Okay. Let's get that score off the side. We saw it work last time. So we can have 1. Oh, I didn't eat much stew. I just took the nice bits off the top. Going down. Going down. Down. Cool. There we go. We now have, after a rather long time, the stew bowl we can empty. Now, I'm going to definitely say, look down in the comments, because there's probably a much easier way of doing this. Say if we had a data pack, we could probably use a macro to put that, we could grab the score and just put it into the level of the stew pot. That'd be much easier. What about refilling it, actually? Let's make a way to refill it, just so you don't have to, break it and place it. All we have to do is, well, I say all we have to do, and I hadn't actually thought what we had to do, refill. So we've got 2 numbers. We've got one number, we've got the score on the interaction entity. So I suppose we could just do scoreboard, players. I'll just do the general one. I'll just say type equals interaction, tag equals stew pot input. Stew level 8. Now, as you can see, because I've only put interaction and stew pot inputs, this would reset every stew pot. You can change maybe you want, limit equals 1, sort equals nearest, but this will do. This just shows you how to do it. So resetting that, and then we'd also want to reset the display. So we would data merge into an entity, add entity, type equals, it's a block display, isn't it? It had a tag, we just called it stew. And we'll limit it to 1 because I only have 1 on my map. And we'll change its block state. And inside block state, we will change its properties. And inside its properties, we will change its level. And we'll change that back to 8. Done. Well, this is going to target mine because I only have 1. So let's go and check it is empty. You are empty. Let's check your score, actually 0. Let's press that. Score of 8. And you're full again. And the smoke's coming back out. Cool. Okay. I think we're done. We're done. We're done. There we go. I like it though, as a interactive way to give the player food. They've got a little home base. It's a little camp. They can just come back and get themselves some stew. You could refill it. Maybe they come back and they chuck some mushrooms into a box or something. I don't know. Up to you. It's your map after all, so you can do whatever you like. Okay. Do check the comments to see if anyone's come up with a better way of doing this thing. I'm pretty sure here where we're changing the block state, we're going to be checking the score of those interactions. I mean, we're not doing too much. We are... No, that's not that one. So we are running the command here every tick at interaction, and it should be failing here, check me. But it has to get that far. I wonder if there's a way to make this so we don't have to do all of that every tick. I don't know. This works. This was my experiment in a nice little stew pot. Okay, I better let you go. It's been a long one. Have a nice day. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.